Today we're going to be talking about blending in Photoshop. We're going to blend with black and white, we're going to blend with some colors, and then I'll give you a chance to blend some colors of your own. So how are we going to do that? There are a lot of different ways to blend in Photoshop, a lot of different techniques that people use. If you search YouTube, you'll come up with thousands of different ways to blend. And so I'm just going to go through a couple of tools that you can use when blending colors. Gradient tool, brush tool, and mixer brush tool. And these are all found in your toolbox. Before we begin, I want you to go ahead and make a copy of your layer. You can just click Command J, and that will copy it. And this is the one that you're going to work on. Make sure you leave this one alone. In fact, we'll go ahead and make it so you can't see it, so that hopefully you don't accidentally end up on this layer while you're working. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about these tools, starting with the gradient tool. Your gradient tool is right here. It is underneath the paint bucket. If you have the paint bucket selected, you can click and hold and find your gradient tool. Before we start using the gradient, we want to select the area that you want to work with. We want to only put color in these three spaces right here. So if I go ahead and try to do that, that's what you're going to end up with because you don't have anything selected. So the gradient tool will go over everything that you already have. So you're going to get your wand, your magic wand, and go ahead and click and hold down Shift and click 2 more spaces. That way, when we use our gradient, pressing G to get my gradient tool back, it will only go in these 3 spaces, for example, like so. That is not a bad set of color, but I need to show you how you get that color. Your gradient is up here, and right now I do have the correct gradient, but if you do not, you can click in here. There are a lot of presets already, and I'll just show you what a preset looks like. It shows you where the colors are and where they're going to change. So if I have orange, yellow, orange, it's going to look like this. Obviously, that's not what we want. If you have to custom make a color, like this has a name and it's a preset on the computer, you can get rid of them by clicking and dragging off and make new colors by double clicking on the square and changing the color. And we do want black and white. One thing I should mention when you are picking colors for your gradients is that you can load a color just by clicking on the square and then clicking on the color. And then the same thing for the other side. And if it doesn't seem to work, then you may need to change one of your little squares. Not the one on top, but if you click below, sometimes there's an extra hidden square, and there it is. Just drag it off, and you will not have it there anymore. Then your gradient is full of the 2 colors that you chose, and you're ready to continue. And once you're ready, you can click OK, and you have a nice black and white gradient. Let's give that a try. And if you do this, where you accidentally get your colors in the wrong place, that's okay. If you look up in the option bar, you will see a lot of options here. You can click reverse, and it's going to reverse the colors. If you look over here, it's going to change when I click reverse. So that's the right way. And I'll just click again and drag across, and that looks better. You can mess around with how far you drag. So for example, I can click and drag all the way across and have a more gradual change. If I just do it in the very middle, then the change is very abrupt. And it worked pretty well to drag kind of just in the middle of the box or a little bit close to the side of the box when I was making the gradient. Other things that are up here you'll see in some other tools. Notice opacity is here. That's seen in your brush tool and also in your layers. You'll also see Your blending mode is up here too, so you can use a gradient within a blending mode. They're all the same as they were in your layers palette. Once you have a gradient that you like, you can retry a few times until you find something that's going to work for you. Then we can move on to the brush tool.